Hello.
Hello! Who's saying hello? We're here. Welcome.
Oh, hello.
Hello!
Is that Kathy?
It's Erica.
Oh, just a sec. I'm trying to mute me. Just a sec. Because
No
I'm on
one,
a phone call all of a sudden.
no one
that's
could
Kathy.
do Kathy
Okay.
naftily. It's like you
Oh,
can't
come on.
put baby in a corner.
All right, one more minute, I guess, and we'll start. All right, well, should we get going?
Yes, take it away, Alex.
All right, well, thank you, Sarah, for putting the agenda together, because when you talked about having a director's council meeting, I didn't actually put two and two together and think, oh yeah, that would be me in charge of that. So other things. So the first item on the agenda is, how are people doing? That well, great.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah, we're managing in Greenwich.
Nice clock.
Yeah. Can everybody see the chat, or do you need me to read the chat?
I can't see chat at the moment. All I can see is the screen.
Okay, so Mike Sullivan says that he's doing good. Mike can also see the chat. Excellent. And Sarah Kipp says she's doing okay in Stillwater.
Hey, Erica.
And she can only see the
people
chat
can't
because she's on tablet. Yeah.
You can see the chat if you're on desktop. It's in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little word bubble. Just click that and you should be able to see the chat.
And Michelle from Mechanical says they're doing well there.
Right.
Randall is going well, as expected.
Excellent.
Clifton Park is doing well. So. All right. I guess we can move on to update on libraries and library services. How do we want to handle this? Do people just want to share what they're doing? Or Sarah, do you want to talk about it? Maybe you have an idea overall of what people are doing.
I don't even know what I'm doing. I think let's let the library start talking and just take turns, as odd as that sounds. I think everybody displays differently.
Okay, well, I can start. We sent everybody home. We closed as effective the 16th. My board was great in that they approved the closure, and they also approved my ability to make whatever decisions I needed going forward, which was wonderful. So we are, we've been having thrice weekly supervisors meetings, on the telephone, catching up at 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then my supervisors are having meetings with their staff, again, through the phone. We've deployed a ton of laptops to folks at home. We have a lot of staff who might have a tablet at home, but not necessarily a laptop. And we are asking our salaried staff to do work while they're home. we've brainstormed a whole bunch of things that people can do at home, including free webinars and sexual harassment prevention training and all those kind of things that they normally would do at work, they can do at home. And if they don't have the technology, we're providing it for them. We're just this morning, we had been doing email reference and allowing patrons to get library cards via email, and now we are doing telephone reference starting this morning from 10 to 4. I don't think there's been a whole lot of calls, but that's, the calls are being forwarded on a scheduled basis through our phone system to people's cell phones or home phone, whatever they choose. So that's about it. I've got my creative youth services staff thinking about activities for people to do at home. I think that's about
it. This is Annie. Alex, I have a question about doing telephone reference.
Mm-hmm.
Especially from home, we had a suggestion that we could do call forwarding to our staff, but you know, what kinds of questions are people going to be able to answer from home, I guess, is the question I have.
Well, we've provided access to Leap for our staff, so they can use Leap if they need to. But I mean, we figure it'll be questions like, you know, we have a frequently asked questions thing, but how do I use particular resources? When are my items due? All of those kind of things. So we'll answer what we can.
Yeah.
We've got other staff who are, you know, if somebody has a particular technology problem, I have a great trainer, and she's going to handle those from home, you know, as best you can. There's only so much you can do.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Annie, would you like to take the opportunity to talk about what you're doing at Greenwich?
Sure. Well, obviously we closed. Last Wednesday was our last day. We had a board meeting that night, but you know, we knew we were going to be closing. I, thanks to Sarah, was able to use the language from the Ask a Lawyer site, and we passed, you know, emergency closing, and we passed a resolution and all that, so that we would be covered for paying people. That was, you know, that's right now, that is my biggest concern, is making sure we're taking care of our staff. I am the only salaried person, so we are, everybody is doing projects and working from home and keeping track of their hours. I have been in the library several times, you know, getting stuff organized for myself. We have set up a Google Sheet so people can sign up to go in if they need to go in, and that way there won't be more than 1 or 2 people in the whole building at the same time. There's been just this amazing explosion of stuff on our website. One of my staff members has really taken that on and has done a lot of great stuff with our website. We assigned one person to be our Facebook czarina, and she's making sure that we have a variety of things, but not too many things, and not cross-posting and repeating. You know, we brought a lot of projects home. I'm looking at there's an absolute flood of webinars and GoToMeetings and all this other stuff, and at this point, I'm realizing I have to weed those out in order to get my other projects done. And that's kind of it. You know, people, when I've gone in to check on stuff, the public has been really good. We haven't found piles of books. We haven't found piles of donations, which is what we were really afraid of since everyone's home cleaning out their houses. And I think that's kind of it.
Wait, are we supposed to be cleaning our houses?
Other people are cleaning their houses.
Whew.
Hi, this is Kathy here. One thing we're doing basically what other folks are doing. Each department is posting on, you know, various social media channels, you know, readings or cooking tips or, you know, folk life things. And each department is sort of taking care of their own. One thing I've been very clear about, because some of us have jobs that can be done remotely and have to be done remotely. And I've been very careful about sort of, you know, psychologically they know everybody's getting paid, but certainly some people just can't be doing their full jobs these days. And if people are anxious about that or think it's unfair or something, they're all troopers and has not been a concern. One thing that I was advised to do by Warren County, basically the sheriff's department, those folks that are traveling occasionally to the library, and this is our head of maintenance, our IT staff, and potentially our payroll clerk and our business manager, and 4 trustees that are able to sign checks and such. I've been issued a letter signed by the director that these people are traveling on the streets and have permission to go to this non-essential site to keep everything running. I think that's not out there in the press so much, but it may be important if at some point they start cracking down a little more on travel. And the only other thing I have to add is work with your bank on like any payroll matters or money transfers or anything like that, so that you can get your people paid and your bills processed if that is of import.
Kathy, this is Annie, and I have a question.
Yeah.
This should not go in the notes. You know what the question is, Kathy?
I know. I'm wearing a t-shirt, but no bra.
Woohoo!
Very racy.
I know.
So, Annie, maybe this is a good time for you to review the sexual harassment prevention training.
But what if I like it?
She started it. She asked for it.
I did.
I'm not sure who else is on, what other libraries are online. Oh, Sarah.
I'm here, Alex, from town of Ballston.
Yeah. Oh, are you? Okay. It doesn't show everything on my computer here, so.
I had some technical difficulties, but I'm here now. I missed some of what the first people were saying. We are, all our part-time staff is working. No part-time staff is working. The only 3 people are the critical staff members, which is the cleaner, the accounts payable, payroll, and me. And we are only in there the minimal amount of time we have to be in there. So those are the only people that are going to the library. My 2 librarians, one of whom is salaried, and one of whom is a temporary hourly employee. They are working from home and they are being paid, but no one else is being paid. And we're municipal, so it's not me that makes that decision. It's my town, and I've reached out to them on Monday and Tuesday for guidance and haven't received an answer until today, which said you'll find something out later. So we've been doing everything that other people are doing. We've really ramped up our Facebook. We're trying to do a variety of posts every day, part informational, part fun, one children focused, one adult sort of program or resource focused. And we have a resource list on our webpage. We're checking voicemails all throughout the day, getting back to people, answering emails with people who need help. And now really starting to plan for, if this goes on long term, what we can do virtually. We did have our weekly music performer gave us access to her YouTube video, and that's one of our most popular programs on Tuesday. So that was great yesterday. We got to put that out there so families could watch Miss Terry. So we'll be doing more of that in the days to come.
I'm not sure who else is online.
So Michelle from Mechanicville, this is Erica, by the way, speaking on behalf of Michelle. Michelle, just to let everybody know what's going on, she reported that they had our UV filtration system installed yesterday for their HVAC system. They're doing Facebook Live story times, pushing digital access to all, working with the community center, city, and school. All phones are being forwarded to her cell phone. Her board is being very supportive. The library is paying all staff as they are working from home, and she's going in every day to check on the library. Let me scroll down. Oh, Tim McDonough from Waterford said that they're paying all staff during the shutdown. They're trying to keep patrons informed via the Facebook page regarding e-resources, etc. He says he's been into the library several times to check on the building. They have not been getting too many returns or donations so far, which has been a relief. Caitlin Johnson from Schuylerville reports that they're doing well. All staff are home working on various projects like collection development, program planning, hosting online programs, sharing resources, updating the website and Facebook, etc. They had a small issue with donations, but made some Facebook posts and got people to clean them up. She said she's been going in to handle payroll and accounts, and their cleaner's been disinfecting the building. Awesome. And I know that early on, almost immediately after they closed, Schuylerville was doing a whole wellness series, which I thought was super smart and creative. Jennifer Hurd from Round Lake and Malta is doing much the same as everyone else. 3 staff are working from home, updating the website and social media. They're also working on several projects that can be done from home. She's been into both of the buildings to check on things and to process the payroll. Sarah Kipp says everyone at Stillwater is working from home, including part-time, so long as they have work to do. Sounds the same as everyone else. Videos, outreach, calling our regulars to talk them through e-options. Program is difficult, but we're figuring it out online. And we know you will, Sarah. Oh, excellent. And Colleen just posted that the Town of Ballston Community Library also increased their Hoopla monthly limit from 5 to 10 during this time. And that's everything that was in the chat.
Great. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. The next item on the agenda was concerns of your board. Do your board have any concerns? Oh, there's Christina from Cambridge too, I just saw.
Okay, so Christina from Cambridge reports that Cambridge is doing well. She's personally not been into the building due to quarantine, but she has been working from home. She has staff going in to check on the building up until Monday. They're working out how to pay staff during the shutdown. Once she's released from her self-isolation, she'll be in the building about 4 times a week. Oh, get better, Christina, and feel better, and hope it passes quickly.
All right. So
There's a Ballston. Andrea said something.
Oh.
Did you read that?
Let me find it. Hang on. Oh, okay. Andrea from Ballston Spa is doing similar tasks as the other libraries. The clerks and I are working from home. We've ramped up Facebook posts and working on hosting Facebook Live sessions. Cool, Andrea. We're also watching TED Talks, webinars to educate ourselves during this time. Excellent. Yeah, so anybody who needs to get their 60 hours of professional development in, and this is a great chance to do that. And Sarah wants you to know how impressed she is with everybody. Oh, Michael is replying to the concerns of the board question asked by Alex, and Michael from Richard's Library says, no, they're happy with the course we're on. We were scheduled to meet on the 7th of April, but are waiting to see what Governor Cuomo does. Staying in touch with the board president and board members. Sarah Kipp from Stillwater says the main board concern has been to make sure we're paying people legally. Civil service is new to us, and the situation is new to all of us. Amen, sister. And Christina from Cambridge says, our board's main concern is paying staff as well.
So Sarah Dallas, do you want to address that? Because I mean, you shared that information from Ask the Lawyer, but I don't know. I mean, we certainly took that and ran with it, but I don't know if it applies to all libraries.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And it gets a little tricky if you have a union shop, because you have to work with both parts of the contract management and the union members. And I'm happy to say that Albany Public Library, I'm a board member there, we did come up with a memo of understanding so that all part-time staff can be paid. So it doesn't have to do with civil service. Pass that resolution, Sarah Kipp, so that you can pay your staff legally. The board has to authorize it. Colleen, I don't think it's a civil service thing. I think it's your municipality thing.
Yeah.
I also
articulate.
Oh, sorry. The reason I checked with civil service is because what I'm not sure about is if we haven't officially told people there's no work for you. There are some people that there's just not work from home, our pages. And we haven't officially said there isn't work starting on this date. They know that we're closed, but I was just curious if there was no work and they needed to be documented as such, does it affect them having to be rehired later on? Did it require a pink sheet, in other words? Was it a separation from employment? That was all I was covering. And Tiffany at Saratoga County said, no, it really was business as usual in terms of civil service. Unless you had someone on probation and then weren't working, you don't have to count these weeks as part of their probationary period if they're not working. I was because I hadn't received any guidance from the town, which my library board has a whole separate issue because the town is not going to pay library staff if they're not paying their own town staff. Of our complicated relationship. So that's why I've been waiting for town guidance, which has not been forthcoming.
One of the arguments made by the attorney for Albany Public Library is that you want to have a staff ready to go when we get to the other side of this. And by paying your staff during the break, you will have that staff available to jump in and get started to reopening. Don't say Albany Public, just say, well, it was a public meeting, but just.
Well, that was the justification. This is Annie. That was the justification suggested also in that article by the Ask a Lawyer. That's what we used in our resolution at Greenwich.
And again, I will send it out again. And Annie, if you want to send your resolution out to everybody, just replace Greenwich.
I just copied the one from theirs pretty much and changed the dates and the name. There was a resolution included in that document that you sent.
I'll send it again, and I'll do the subject in red. so it stands out in your ever-flowing inbox.
This is Annie again. I did want to mention the reason that I was really concerned about doing that. We're an association library, so we don't have all these other issues. However, we do have a new town board, and we have a contract with the town board, and these folks are pinching pennies and being, I think, penny wise and pound foolish. And we really want to be able to document that we are not misappropriating public funds by paying people who are not coming into work. So we have the resolution. People are keeping time sheets. They are, showing the product, everything, so that when it comes to the end of this process, I plan to go to the town board and say, this is what we did and this is what we accomplished during the time we were closed.
So Tim McDonough from Waterford wrote, I agree there are concerns regarding legal issues pertaining to payment of staff. Colleen talked about contacting Saratoga Civil Service for guidance if people weren't working. Becky from Corinth said we're due to have a board meeting April 6th. I'm working on how to do that best, otherwise keeping in touch with board and staff via email and phone. And Becky and anybody else who doesn't know, the governor did suspend open meeting laws, so you could certainly meet, do a virtual meeting or work stuff out through email, right, Sarah? Email's okay too, or phone.
Are you asking me that? I was reading
Yes.
a comment. Would you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm a squirrel.
So Becky from Corinth was talking about having a board meeting on April 6th, and she's working out how to do that best. And my understanding is that with Governor Cuomo saying open meeting law has been suspended, that people can do that virtually or through email or the phone.
Absolutely. I would say go through a platform, email. You're doing, the rules have changed. I would say the best thing is to go through a meeting or a Zoom meeting, something like that, but have an option for people who don't have computers at home or don't have internet that they can call in.
And for anyone who doesn't know, you can use the Zoom platform for free up to 40 minutes for up to 100 people. So Becky, as long as you have less than 100 people on your board, the challenge will of course be keeping a board meeting to 40 minutes, but maybe that's a great challenge to have, right? Colleen Smith wrote that her board canceled the March 25th library board meeting. Good. Tim McDonough asked, can you share that memo of understanding language, Sarah?
Will do.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's talking about from the Ask the Lawyer article.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Kipp said, okay, that has been done. Excellent, Sarah. Thanks. Christina Becker said, we have that same issue with our village. Christina, I'm guessing that you're responding to what Colleen was talking about with the town of Ballston, working with the town to try and pay part-time employees. But if I'm wrong, you can write a note and I'll get to it.
Just to go back, one more argument is that even though the village or the town or whatever municipality is handling things, it's still the library's money, it's the library's budget item, and it's the library board that determines how that money will be spent.
Mike Sullivan from the Richard Library said that they used Greenwich's resolution as a template. It worked great and they are appreciative, so thanks, Annie. Colleen Smith said, what about people who don't have a timesheet to show because they aren't working? Interesting.
What are their normal scheduled hours? I think look at that and say to them, you need to read articles, you need to watch webinars, you need to keep up to date, watch Governor Cuomo at 11 o'clock every day, something like that, so that they are doing some work, and have them keep a timesheet.
Sarah, if I can just add, someone was saying about pages and clerks. My page supervisor is doing sort of scavenger hunt type email. So she sends an email out and says, answer these questions. And it's about the collection or something, or asking for suggestions about how we could improve, you know, particular things. And my clerk supervisor is doing the same thing with the part-time clerks, you know, like, here's 20 questions to answer, or here's some, you know, how do you do this, or training things like that, that you can do at home and you don't actually have to be there for those part-time people.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Alex.
Somebody just identified as staff, so I'm not sure who this is, says, Sarah, are you saying that this resolution would be an override for the previous statement at the prior director meeting that we cannot pay with public funds for time not worked?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And make sure that it goes back to the time your library closed.
Okay. Awesome. Colleen Smith said, our pages and some clerks don't have much work at home potential. Tim from Waterford asks, does that open meeting law suspension extend to passing a tax cap override?
Yes. Because it's a board action.
Yeah.
That's your board action. It's not going to the election, which is a whole nother complicated thing.
And Jack Scott wants everybody to know that GoToMeeting also offers a 14-day free trial. So if you're looking to set up board meetings, you could always use that. Oh, and Tim also wants to know, and ratifying a budget for 2021. Yes, I believe that, well, I'll let Sarah talk to that, but I think that's the same.
And make sure you do an oral roll call. When you're passing a motion, the best thing is to do a roll call so you have it documented in your notes who was in that meeting and what their vote was. Let me rephrase that. How they voted. I'm sorry, my grammar has gone out the window.
That's, Michelle Dool from Mechanicville says she's given her clerks policies to review. They're attending webinars and brushing up on their skills with shelving, shelf reading techniques via YouTube. Oh, who knew? Very cool. They're writing down what they learned and will be handing it in each week. Excellent. Caitlin Johnson said that Schuylerville purchased a Zoom Pro membership so we can have longer meetings with multiple hosts. It was only $27 or so for the month, and they can cancel after that. So it's a month-by-month thing. You don't have to subscribe long-term. Colleen Smith said she may have one of her trustees call Sarah. Please do. Sarah loves that. And Colleen says, great idea, Sarah and Alex. Thank you. Oh, Steph. Oh, so the person that was asking before that was Steph. That was Deb at Galway. Hello, Deb at Galway.
Did everybody get the CDLC email about the web tools and the comparison? It came out last week. I mean, it was a good, you know, here's what Zoom does, here's what WebEx does, and did people get that? Do you want me to forward it?
Yes, please.
Okay. You might have just deleted it in the craziness last week. So. Okay.
We have a comment, Vicky Plude from Fort Edward. Hey, Vicky. Vicky was busy until 12:30, so she's just joined us recently. She came on a few minutes ago and was wondering if we have a possible date to reopen. So, Vicky, a lot of that's going to depend on the governor, and that this week he's talking about the apex being, you know, probably at least 3 weeks from now. So we can't open before the governor says it's okay to open. So plan on remaining in place for a while still.
Okay.
How are you doing, Miss Vicky? Good to hear your voice.
I'm doing well. I'm actually doing Zoom online for my ASL class.
Awesome.
And that is not easy to do, watching 19 little people on a screen. So
yeah.
Interesting, to say the least. But we've been keeping busy, as with everybody else, you know, trying to maintain and update. And we were going into the library up until this past Saturday. And now I'm just going outside and getting the mail, getting books that are in the book drop, putting them in the shed, grabbing the newspaper, delivering bills to the treasurer, and looking at emails and hoping to get programs scheduled, but I'm leery of what, is going to be. Anyone else scheduling programs?
Sounds like maybe not yet.
Okay.
There is a site that I sent out earlier today. It's called New York, what was it? It was the email I sent before, and that's what the state librarian is recommending to take a look at. And if there are online programs, letting your public know that they can participate in them. What is it?
Okay, I have those the links that Jack had sent as well. Okay.
Excellent, excellent. I don't think everybody really has to reinvent it, but to be able to tell people where they can go back to have some of their routine.
Okay.
Annie Miller asked, can we get a list of the training resources people are using? I'm wondering if it would be helpful if we did like a shared Google Doc or something where we could put that in. Jack, is that something you think you could set up? Where people could enter in whatever they're using, and that way everybody would have access to it? And how much stuff do you have on your plate, Jack? Is that too much? Poor Jack. I know Jack's busy because I send him emails about stuff to do apparently every 15 seconds of every day.
They help you, Jack. You too, Erica.
That's
Sarah,
right.
everybody.
Sarah Dallas is sharing her phone number if you need it. If anyone doesn't have it, it's 518-859-0742. She really likes it if you call and ask her if she has Prince Albert in the can, so feel free. Oh, and Sarah asks, Jack, can you add those tools on the Sal's website, please? Which tools, Sarah?
The ones about that.
Jack said sure thing. You're going to scroll faster. Okay. Christina Becker says that in Cambridge they're doing lots of summer reading planning, but no definite scheduling. Jennifer Hurd in Malta is not scheduling programs, but planning new ones for when they reopen. Right, and this is a great chance to kind of like reflect on what's working, and if there's any stuff that you've thought about that maybe you can let go of and refresh when you go back. Sarah Kippen, Stillwater says we're figuring it out as we go, possibly a craft class on Facebook Live. Michelle Dool at Mechanicville is looking at programs from the fall and trying to figure out when to reschedule the programs that they had to cancel. Public, whoever that is, I don't know if that's, no, Deb is staff, so I'm not sure who Public is. I think this is Andrea from Ballston Spa. I've booked some summer programs, but everything's depending on how things go. Tim McDonough says training resource list would be great. Michael Sullivan from Richard says all scheduling for March and April canceled. Still debating to postpone LARAC, a grant-funded program in May. Yeah, you're probably going to have to reschedule that. Tim McDonough. Oh, yeah. Point of order. Are some folks not able to see the chat list? Why does Erica have to read the chat transcript? Because of my incredible stylings. That's mainly why. But yeah, can people see the chat list? Because I do not need to read this if people can see it. Before people said they couldn't see it.
This is Annie. I can see it.
All right, then I will stop reading it.
Okay. Do we have any other board? Wait, I now I've lost where we were. Board concerns? Concerns of the board?
An FYI, the Sal's board canceled our May annual dinner.
Okay.
So that'll
Okay.
give your board members one more evening in May.
Maybe a Christmas dinner, Sarah.
But I can tell you the 2021 Sal's annual dinner will be held in Saratoga Springs.
Okay. Oh, geez. Sorry, I got an update thing on my computer. Colleen had asked also about, Colleen, was it unemployment payments or something? I'm trying to find the email now.
Well, I've had people ask me if with this new unemployment that there's a wait, there's a, they're waiving the 7-day period. There are some people who've asked me, some staff who've said, and my own librarians, should people, right now, my board has not approved that we're going to continue paying people, and the town is supposed to update me later. If the town says we're not paying town employees, of which you are town employees, my board says, well, we really have to abide by that because we want to. I've been concerned if should part-time staff be filing for unemployment? If they know we're out, are they missing out on that level of financial assistance by me saying to them, you could work from home and do these projects, but they're not going to equal your full hours. But because you have actual tangible work, you can work. Would some of them be better off? I don't want to put them in a place where they're doing some work for us and they find out that they could have gotten more if they had done that. Now, since I've heard all you talking, yeah, go ahead.
Colleen, the line for the library budget is separate from the municipality budget. The board has authorization to spend, the library board has authorization to spend the money in the library budget. Is there a line in the library budget for personnel?
Yes.
And this is something that I think you may need to speak to an attorney about. The town does not have authorization to determine how the library budget is spent, is my understanding.
It is mine as well, Sarah, but for over 2 years that has been a bone of contention. And when the board speaks an attorney, they speak to the town attorney.
Well, I think it's time that there is the ask the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask questions on the CDLC website. Her name is Stephanie Cole. The board may want, well, her name is Stephanie Cole Adams, and your board may want to hire her. She's very reasonable to get an opinion on this.
I agree with you, and if I need them to reach out to you directly to hear that from you, that's where I'm going to go with that. If that's okay, Sarah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because you are preaching to the choir.
And when we get to the other side of this adventure, I think it's really important for your board to have a memo of understanding with the town board.
Agreed.
I think there's somebody typing. Maybe they can mute their phone while they're typing. Thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to be pushy. All I could hear was that. All right, any more board concerns? Okay, elections. Sarah, you put elections on there. Ugh.
Okay, this is coming together in drips and drabs. Nyla just sent out a press release that I shared with you about elections. What I've learned is that they really don't know what to do with the elections at this point. School district public libraries or libraries going for 259 votes have to abide by education law. And I believe the governor has suspended the general election.
Really?
But that's still out there. This is something that please don't put a notice in yet that you're having the election until the very last moment. For school district libraries, it may reflect that this year you'll be on the school ballot and not holding your own. There's talk about absentee ballots as well. So this is really a priority for the state education department. And as soon as I have more information, I will be sharing it with you. But please don't send out your legal notice that you're holding the election. Sarah, I don't know, Sarah Kipp, I don't know if you're on the school ballot. I don't know if you're on the school ballot, but I don't think you can have a separate vote within your building. But that's how you usually do it. What they're talking about libraries now, and still it's up in the air, and this is not definitive. If you vote for your trustees, what might be happening is that you have the trustees in place serve until you're able to hold the next election to elect new trustees. But that's still very fluid at this point in time. From your typing fingers to God's ears, Michelle, that things will be calmer in April.
Okay. I assume that just applies to libraries whose votes are in the spring.
Yes, so that would be a school district vote or the 259.
Okay.
But don't send out, Tim, don't send out your legal notices yet that you're going to have your vote in June. Hold off to the last possible moment. Excellent. It could be from May to June. Well, it could be from April to June, Becky. And yes, those are the school district ones in the spring.
Has anyone heard from the Stewart's grant by any chance? The holiday match grant?
Vicki, I don't know if you can see the chat, but people are saying no, nobody's heard from
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is recommendations about e-content and increasing the budget. I don't know if Jill is there and wants to address this.
Hi, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I am trying to boost the Overdrive collection and really stay on top of holds. I haven't seen yet a dramatic increase in holds, but I think that's probably going to change since we just started the online, the digital card sign up. So if you'd like to reallocate some of your funds to the Overdrive collection, you can either send me an email saying how much more you'd like to contribute, and what I will do then is purchase materials and we'll rebill you at a later date for that amount. If you have staff that use the marketplace to create carts or on the selection committee, and they know who they are, you can have them create a cart in the marketplace of titles that they've selected, and I will order that cart and again rebill you. So that would be much appreciated, and I have to give a shout out to Greenwich and Fort Edward for already offering to contribute some extra funding towards Overdrive. So thank you to those folks. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the Overdrive collection, e-content?
Do you want to talk about the virtual library card?
Yep, that was next on the agenda.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just trying to stay on track here. So as of not even 24 hours ago, we got Overdrive up and running with the online digital card, or instant card as they call it. So now when patrons go to the sign-in page, they have an option to enter their phone number and be approved via their phone number for a digital card. So it only gives them access to Overdrive, but you know, that's better than nothing. And as of a couple hours ago, we had 33 people who already discovered this. Before I was even able to announce it to you all yesterday, we had 4 people had signed up. So they're finding it all on their own, but we'll do our best to figure out ways to promote it also. I know Jack's been putting stuff on the Sal's site and Salon, and some of you have asked for e-content promotional materials for your websites. So he's been finding some great marketing materials for that. And I will say we had one instance so far where a patron wasn't able to be validated via the digital card. And if that happens, send me a message with the patron's phone number and zip code. I will verify that they are, you know, in our service area and can approve them that way. But hopefully that's not going to be a large amount of people.
Great, thanks, Jill. I forwarded that to my staff, and they were super excited about it. So
good.
And thank you also for getting together the ability for patrons to apply for a library card via email.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Gotta do everything we can, even if we're kind of breaking some of the rules a little bit, or bending the rules, I should say.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is informing the public not to return books via electronic message.
I'm sorry, can I go back a second? This is Annie in Greenwich.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask, so far I've had a couple of inquiries about Canopy. And now that we're trying to do online cards and all this other stuff, the Overdrive ones being a separate issue, but we have already set up people getting cards online. I'm wondering what people who already have Canopy, especially in the smaller libraries, are you finding your usage has gone up significantly?
I'm just seeing a message from someone about what is the cost of Canopy. It's a cost per circ platform. I think it's around a couple dollars per title per circulation. I can, if you identify yourself, oh, that's from Vicky, I guess. I think I already sent you information on Canopy, but if I didn't, I can send you more and a contact to talk to about getting set up with Canopy.
Can you do that, Jill? Because I haven't thought about it in a long time, and I'm sure there's an email somewhere, but I'd appreciate a repeat.
Sure.
Annie, this is Kathy at Crandall. I had stats run for a meeting this afternoon, and Canopy, if we looked at February 2019, it was 607. February 2020 was 1,052. And then in the time period of March 16th through 24th in 2019, it was 158. And for Canopy, 316 to 324 this year it was 498. So it has increased tremendously.
Wow. Yeah, I'd love to provide it, but I'm concerned it might become a budget buster.
Yeah, and this is one reason we're not just jumping in to say, yeah, we'll help with overdrive, we'll help with this and that, because it's even impacting our resources budget.
And you do have the ability when you set up your Canopy account to set up a monthly budget cap and limit the number of checkouts per patron. So there's ways to get it set up so that, you know, you're not gonna have a shocking amount at the end of the month.
Yeah, but at this point in time, we don't want to limit what patrons can get, since they don't get any, you know, they don't get the full breadth of our services.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But if I'm starting from scratch, you know, having a fairly limited resource that we didn't have before would probably be okay.
I'm just looking at our hoop list stats, and we've had 103 new users in March versus like 57 in February. That's just new patrons. So I think it's increasing.
Okay.
So an item on the agenda was informing the public not to return books via electronic message. Sarah?
Right now, Eric, Jill, Michelle, Diane Robinson, and Sharon O'Brien are thinking about ways that we can get messages to our library users. It's still a thought process, and I was just wondering, would you find sending out a blanket message to your users helpful? And the one I was thinking about would be, please love our materials a little longer, don't return them to the library. Some of the things that we're looking at is, would we send it once a week? Perhaps, do we send it just to active users? We're concerned about the privacy issues, about if people can opt in or opt out of receiving these messages. So it's really a way to reassure our patrons with yet another email that no, there's no fines accruing. Don't go out of the don't leave your house to return the books, and things like that. Would that be helpful? Is that worth pursuing?
Couldn't hurt, except it's more work on your end.
Oh no, I don't do any programming, but I know what you mean.
And I think it makes sense to send it out once. I don't know that we need weekly updates of anything, unless it's just a repeat for maybe people who didn't see the message. Because we're sending out so much. I'm already completely inundated with emails and Facebook things and all that other stuff. I don't know that they would appreciate weekly emails from the library.
We don't really want to be sending frivolous material information, but if there's something that's very important, but think about it and send me your thoughts to my email address.
Thanks, Sarah. How can SALs assist?
What can we do to help you that we're not doing? Do you want meetings once a week? Do you want, what other resources can we share with you to help you provide services to your community? What I'm thinking about is that we can start working as a staff, and I haven't even talked to my staff about this yet, but things that we can do to help when you start reopening.
Yeah, I actually added that to the bottom of the agenda. That's something that my staff are interested in, sort of what's going to happen when we start up. How is delivery going to be managed? Even things like recommendations on what we should or shouldn't be doing, you know, guidance on quarantining of materials as they start to come back. So, you know, getting some kind of directive from SALS on those types of things would be very helpful for my staff.
Excellent.
Yeah, I second the quarantine materials information because, you know, keep hearing very conflicting information.
And that's part of the problem, Annie, is that I swear, I feel like I'm on a shifting floor. You make your best guess, like not paying your part-time staff, and then a couple weeks later, it changes completely. But
Absolutely.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add or has questions about or comments about?
This is Kathy at Crandall. I just want to thank everybody. We're all so supportive of each other, and especially Sal's and JA. Everybody is gone above and beyond, and we couldn't do it without our library family. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
I echo that. This is Tim from Waterford. I also had a question regarding, has anyone done any research or consideration of setting up a free little library outside of their building to allow some folks? I have some, you know, patrons who are never going to take advantage of e-resources, older folks, and, you know, the longer this goes on, the more desperate they're going to be to just have a book to read. And, you know, I'd like to be able to put a little collection of some sort together that, you know, they can access, and I don't care if they bring them back, you know, so a lot of it would be probably coming out of my book sale collection, but something.
And this is Kathy at Crandall. We decided against that. It's sending mixed messages because part of our, you know, is the books, the DVDs, they're all vectors. And to put the books out free, you know, we don't care if they came back.
Right.
Then starts the, well, if we can take these, why can't we go in and get that? Or curbside delivery and yada, yada, yada. That was our thinking on that.
Okay, understand.
And this is Annie at Greenwich. We were thinking that potentially if we could figure out what the appropriate quarantine time was to offer things to places where people are already going, like the grocery store or a food bank. We do have places we could put books for 24 or 48 hours and that people could kind of come and pick them up. But so far, without any reliable information, and while other places are still sort of getting their heads around the new situation, I was thinking of start thinking about it maybe next week.
I know how everybody we're in this profession not for the money. We're in this to be helpful, to share quality information, and to provide services. And we're looking for ways to continue to do that. And Tim, personally, I think the potential of passing this virus on through those books is not is the greater consideration than having somebody have something to read, which goes against our core value.
So one
Yep.
this is Erica. One last thing that I just want people to keep in mind and think about messaging around is the census. As you know, we had all been gearing up for a really big effort to make sure that our communities were participating in the census. So far, we know that people in the field will not be going out right now. But the census is continuing. There are no plans to delay the census. The only way the census could be delayed or extended is through an act of Congress. So we really need to ensure that our communities are reporting. So anything you can do to share information about that and push that out and get people to participate would be awesome.
Is there anything else anybody wants to share?
Do we want to oh, here, it's the next agenda. I'll be quiet.
No, go ahead, Sarah. You want to set up another meeting, and when, I guess, is the question.
How about a week from today? And I promise to put it on my calendar.
Sarah, what time?
Well, your class is over at 12:30.
Well, today it got over at 12:22, so.
Okay, how about next week at 12:30? Or maybe.
That sounds good. I hate, inconveniencing anyone, and I appreciate them being patient, so thank you.
Is 1 o'clock better for people? That way you can grab lunch too. Or we all can grab lunch. Hey, I'm here all week.
I've been eating my lunch this whole time.
1 sounds good, Sarah. And if anybody sends me any agenda items, I'll put an agenda together.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. And thanks, Erica. It looks like you've been taking notes. I assume that's Erica taking notes.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. I'll send these to Jennifer because I'm sure she's got much better stuff, and she can wrap it up with whatever she has.
Great.
And Jack, you've recorded this so we can share it as a link to all of the directors who were not able to attend. I think he's shaking his head, yes.
Yes, we can do that.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. And I guess it'll be next week at 1 o'clock. That's April 1st.
Perfect. Thank you all for carving out this hour. Thank you, Alex and Erica and everyone else.
Thanks,
Be
Sarah.
safe, everybody.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, Jack, what do I need to do? Oh, I can stop recording, pause.